recording. So the screen we're looking at, I went to batches, list open batches, and I've pre-created a batch for panels. I'm going to build that batch. I only have 2 tests added, so we'll just say we'll filter for 10. We'll select all of them, and we'll say add the checked panels to batch. So these are now the tests that are in the batch. And there are no tests sitting around waiting to be added to a batch. And Tracy, interrupt me if you have questions or clarifications. Okay, so this screen is used for building the batch, adding tests to it, etc. We're going to go to the entering of results. Okay, so we have a panel, and we don't really enter any data for a panel. We enter everything in the screen test. So this button is enabled because there are panels in the batch. So we hit create screen tests. And it's just confirming what you asked it to do. And it's okay to run it multiple times. It will not create duplicates. So we'll just hit confirm. And it just gives you some information here about what it did. So there were 2 10B panels. So we created 20 screens. For entering the screens, we can filter this list based on the test, and then it's ordered by BTL number. And this set of buttons here sets the entry mode, whether you want to enter results or validate the results. So we're going to be in result entering mode. So we'll just enter some values here. And I'm just tabbing through, setting 0.5 for both. You'll notice that as you edit rows, they turn pink to indicate that they've been edited, but not yet submitted. And you'll notice that the filter is also turned off because you can't change the filter while you're editing. If we hit reset, it just removes the values and turns the filter back on. So I'll just go enter results again. And I'll submit. And this detector should be automatically set based on the threshold, but I'm not sure to have the threshold set for AMP. But suffice to say that AMP will have a threshold. And if the result is greater than that, it will set it to detected. Okay. So now that we have detected screens, we need to create the confirmation test. So hit this button. Same thing, just telling you what it's going to do and that it's okay to hit it multiple times. Confirm. So there were 2 detected screens in the batch, and it created 2 confirmation tests. So if we clear the filter, we don't see the confirmation tests in here because they're just new tests waiting for another batch. So let's go back to the batch list.
So what is this list?
The list we were just looking at.
Yeah.
So these are
just like
all
the rest of them?
Yeah, these are all the confirmation tests that should be in this batch, right?
All the screen tests.
I'm sorry, all the screen tests, yes. And I think you guys wanted to enter them by test and then ordered by BTL number.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I assume you would just go through and enter all the results in this batch, and at the end of it, you'll have a bunch of confirmation tests waiting to be picked up. So we go back to the batch list. In fact, I created this one automatically, but we can just go create a batch. I can see I have a defect in the screen, but we'll just move forward. New batch for
AMP.
Test. Sorry, I knew what I wanted. So we'll go back to the list. That should go to the list after I enter that, but that'll get fixed. Let's list open batches, and here's the new batch we just created. So we'll go build it. So when you're in building a batch, you'll see all the tests that are sitting out there waiting. There's just 2. It's just the 2 confirmation tests. So we'll just say select them all and add them all to the batch. So this batch now has 2 confirmations. So we'll go to enter results. But we don't enter results for confirmation test. We enter results in the analog test. So we need to go create the analog tests, and again, create analog tests for all the confirmation tests. Duplicates won't be created. Okay. So there were 2 confirmation tests in the batch. I guess 4 each. And we see that over here on the filter. So 2 each, or I'm sorry, 1 for each PTL, and again the same thing. Okay, so I'm just going to enter some results in here. Oops. No surprises there. Again, the result status is automatically computed based on the threshold of this test. Okay, and that's it for entering the results for the analog test. What we need now to do is to go validate these by a different user. And the rule we have in place is that the user who entered the results, who is lab user for some reason, I should be picking up the last name, but right now I'm logged in as test writer. And if we go look at the profile, you'll see that first name is test writer, last name is lab user, which I should just swap those.
Got it.
That's why it says lab user. Okay, so we have to log in as a different user is the point, to do the validation, because the same person who entered the results cannot do the validation. So we would hit validate and you see it's still disabled. So I'm going to go log out. I'm going to log in as God, password 11, all the passwords on the test site.
Oh, is that in the demo place too for the passwords?
Yes,
Okay,
passwords are all password 11. And I sent you the
Got
list
it.
of valid usernames.
right.
So I'm going to go, I just logged in, so I'm going to go to the list of the batches, and I just happen to know that I need to enter results in this batch. Okay, so if I go to validate entry mode, you see that the results are turned off. I can't edit those, but I can select this validate checkbox. So I can go through and validate multiple tests, hit submit, and you'll see we updated 2, etc. Sorry, this is the last name of the user. I need to swap the first and last names around. I failed to do that. But this would show the last name of the user.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the entry from adding stuff to the batch and creating all the sub-tests and entering results. So I'm curious if this is going to work how you need it to work.
Okay. So now can we do a quick video, maybe a